Good morning all. Hope everyone is doing fine. So in last video we have seen what are the important things to be considered before selecting a journal. So after selecting a journal, so next is another important thing is you should have a checklist before submitting manuscript to the journal. So what is that checklist? Why it is so important? So you're almost ready to submit your manuscript, but before doing so, make sure to follow the simple checklist to avoid common pitfalls and increase your chances of acceptance. So keeping in your mind of checklist of so and so as per the requirement of the journals will help you to save your time because without going through the checklist you may prepare some XYZ kind of formatting you may submit, but at the very first thing when you submit to the journal, the editorial team will look for only two things. One is whether your manuscript is as per their guidelines of the journal. The second thing is whether your manuscript is having a expected less percentage of plagiarism. By seeing only these two things, it will go further. Otherwise, at this point itself, it may come back as a rejection. It is very rare that it may come as just follow uh, the formatting style as per our journal, and this is a plagiarism reduced, but this is very rare. Straight away they will send you as a rejection. So you have while submitting itself it will take few hours, so you're wasting that hours and just simply blindly waiting for the journal feedback. And when you see this one, it may be like you will be like, yeah, we have it will be stressful for you again sitting and again doing the things. So guys, it's my request, before submitting manuscript to the journal, please go through the proper guideline, proper checklist that XYZ journal is looking forward. Make sure your manuscript is following the same guidelines, and after completely ensuring yourself that your prepared manuscript is as per the journal, then go for a process of the submitting manuscript to the journals. So the importance of manuscript submission checklist. Preparing manuscript submission checklist, it may be, you may feel like it is an extra step. You may feel like, what is this? Every journal is having different. I have to prepare. Yes, you have to prepare. You have to make sure that it is falling under the guideline of the journal, whichever you have selected and whichever you are going to submit. So it will save your time. Why? Because when you have submitted without having the proper format, you submitted, you will wait for a week, then next week it will come back as a rejection. So you're wasting your time and you will be in a stressful once it comes back as a rejection. So again sitting and again making, again again another time you are going to the journal website and submitting the things. It's actually stressful, plus it is completely wasting your valuable time. So avoid all such kind of errors so that it will go in a proper channel, proper way to the editorial team. So it will help to track all the important details and requirement, go through the journals, authors, instruction, make note down of all those points whichever is required before submitting, and keep all the files one by one. Keep rename those file name as 1 2 3 whatever is in your proper understanding. So ensure that all these things are there and you are following the guidelines of a journal. So what is the benefit of using manuscript submission checklist? I just wanted to tell one useful thing here. Sometime what happens, especially for a beginner, they go through all the guidelines, they'll make sure, they'll note down, they'll prepare everything. But while submitting a journal, it may be missing one or the other important points. In order to avoid such things, very important, we used to follow during our doctorate studies. We'll go first after selecting a journal, then we'll register to the journal. We'll go for a mock submission. Mock submission, it's really very important, what can I say? It's a very good tip. So where you can follow, you can go one by one and you can make sure that exactly this is required, this is a mandatory, you can note down. So better guys, from the first step to the till last of the submission, go for a mock submission kind of a procedure where you will clearly understand, where you will clearly come to know that the required things from the journal is which one is mandatory and which one is optional. So that is one of thing we used to follow. Okay, next we'll go towards what is the benefit of using manuscript submission checklist. First thing is it will help you to stay organized, avoid missed requirements. Some of the requirements may be mandatory, you may miss it. Once you miss it, the process, whatever is there while going through the submission process, sometime it may not go further. So you will be stuck there itself. Sometime some of the co-authors email ID or sometime even contact number, those you may not be having in your hand. So you will stuck there itself. You have to make a save button and pause the process and again collect it and again resume it. It may go next day or sometime it happens when you don't have certain information of your co-author. When you asked to the co-author, they may not be in connection with you, or you may be waiting for getting those information. So in order to avoid all these things, it is always good practice to have a checklist. What are the requirements, what are the mandatory, what are the optional things, and keep ready all those things while submitting your manuscript. So it will help properly to identify what are the errors you will be doing before submission. So definitely it is going to save your valuable time. So committing to using checklist help you establish a standard practice and reduce the stress. So before making a checklist, read the journal guidelines and requirements very carefully. And remember, every journal has different kind of guidelines. It is not the same for all the journals having a same guideline. Some journals will prefer to have a double space. Some journal prefer to have a 1.5 space. Some journals, they will give very clearly that introduction, then method, then results, and then discussion. Sometimes they tell you to make it as a numerical number. So these are all things will be there where you should be very, very careful and you should read the guidelines properly. Make sure carefully read and follow the guidelines before submitting your manuscript. This includes formatting requirement, word count, and citation style. Remember guys, the standard standard style of any manuscript will be title, then abstract, keywords, introduction, methods, results, discussion. Few journals will be not having conclusion, few will be having conclusion, acknowledgement, funding, information, then references. So here, what are the different things you should keep it in your mind? The main thing is here word count. Every journal says abstract 250 to 300, some 150, some 350 word count. So it should be within that word count. Keywords sometimes 3 to 6 they mention, so it should not be less than 3. It should not even more than 6 in that case. And next comes the introduction, some 500 or 600 whatever word count they have mentioned, it should be. In methodology section, if it is having any animal or a human participants, make sure that the so and so study is having ethical approval, whether it is IRB, institutional review board, if it is a clinical trial, or any organization will be having its internal ethical clearance board. Clear that one, have a whatever the number, name, the date, whichever you have accepted, whichever your organization is accepted and given a clearance. So that comes under the methodology. In result section, make sure every journal will be having a limitation of graphs. These are the number of graphs, it should be that. Tables, whatever the number of tables it is mentioned, that number only should be there. This comes under the results section. Next, and in results section, sometimes they will very clearly tell figure should be written as FIGURE or FIG.1. Sometimes there is no dot after one dot. So all clear instructions will be given in author's instruction. Please follow that one very carefully. Then complete discussion, then write the conclusion and acknowledgement. Properly acknowledge the whatever, whether it is having a official acknowledgement or unofficial, whatever is there in terms of financial, all those things. Please acknowledge very clearly. Acknowledging is very important things. But with the whomever help you have completed your research work, you have completed your writing work, analysis work, acknowledging is the one of the, what I can say, it is a kind of a ethical, or it is one of the things you have to acknowledge by whomever you have completed your study. Then references, please be sure reference, confirm that you have included all necessary sections, graphs, images. Sometime images they'll mention certain pixel, so those only you have to follow, so that every journal while producing, while publishing, they're having their own limitations. So this figure, this image should fit in this pixel, fit in this kind of a size. So that is a reason they have given you a proper kind of a guide.